Hello, Read Through the Word. Today is September 24th, the day many of you have been waiting for. Good news today. That's the name of the lesson. And welcome to the New Testament. You made it. You made it. Some of you who are friends of mine in real life, have struggled through this, and I am with you. It is so hard at the end of the Old Testament because we forget we are those people. And we're like, come on, people, straighten up. And they don't. And then it's prophecy after prophecy after prophecy. But, here we are. We have opened the Word to a new place today. So, we are in 4 Gospels today. And I'm going to talk a little bit to you. And I might go a little bit over on my lesson. Shh. Don't get in trouble. I get in trouble for that one. Because I'd stay here and talk to you. I came from this, we knew this was going to be my hardest thing when I started reading through the Word. I came from teaching a Bible study for 2 hours. I was used to talking a lesson for 2 hours. So to go to 12 minutes or less, and I go to 15 or more sometimes. So let's go. All right, so we have watched as God has told his love story for his people throughout the Old Testament. And he went so far to send prophet after prophet after prophet after prophet after prophet to say, repent, and prepare the way. Get ready, he's coming. Get ready, he's coming. Get ready, he's coming. And nothing for 400 years. 400 years from the time of Malachi to the time an angel speaks to Zechariah to tell him his wife is going to have a baby in her old age, that Elizabeth is with child. That's the time from when we hear to when we hear. And so we open into the good news of the New Testament today. So our verses are all over today. I've got Mark 1:1, Luke 1-4, John 1-5, and Matthew 1:1. So, Mark 1:1. This is the good news about Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God. Luke 1:1-4. Many people have set out to write accounts about the events that have been fulfilled among us. They use the eyewitness reports circulating amongst the early disciples. From the early disciples, having carefully investigated everything from the beginning. I've also decided to write an accurate account for you, most honorable Theophilus, so you can be certain of the truth of everything you were taught. That's Luke. John 1:1-5. That's what I'm going to read. In the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through him, and nothing was created except through him. The Word gave life to everything that was created, and his life brought light to everyone. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. Matthew 1:1. This is the record of the ancestors of Jesus, the Messiah, a descendant of David and of Abraham. Okay, the Gospels, the good news. Mark says this is the good news. I could go so many ways with today's lesson of different. So for y'all know, I teach at a private Christian school, and don't I wish that all of those years that I've taught Bible studies, I have been teaching Bible studies since 2005, 2006, a long time. And at the back of most of the Bible studies was a little paper you could tear out and get CEU credit for. Never did it. I wish I had. So for my teacher certification, I have to get Bible CEUs. So So it's really interesting because not that I know everything, but a lot of it is what I teach. I mean, I've already taught it here, and now I'm having to listen to someone else teach it to me to get credit and everything. But all of that said, I had a New Testament professor that I'm having to watch online. I mean, it's not live or anything. It's a recording, and I have to take tests and everything. And He, oh my word, he is why I don't want to be Charlie Brown teacher. Wah, 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 wah. It is bad. And so I had to watch his lesson, and I had to read the lessons, and they are everywhere. All of that said, New Testament criticism was a hard class to get through, because we're talking about which came first, that there's Q, and then that how Matthew and Mark overlapping some things, and Luke, and how John fits in, and all of those. So we could go all geek, but I don't think that's the purpose of what we need to do today. I think I need to explain to you why there are 4 Gospels, and the point that you don't just read one. You read all 4. So, I think that's the focus of our lesson today. Because I have students, and they don't understand that there's a purpose to each of the Gospels, and that the way I say this, I usually give the example of, I have a friend of mine, and she has 4 kids, and they all go to my, well, one of them's graduated now, but the other 3 go to my school, and I always use them as an example. And I said, okay, they go to Disney, and they get back, and I say, tell me about your trip, and you get all these stories, and I'm like, who's lying? None of them. They have a different perspective. But in order for me to understand what really happened, I need to talk to all of them. That's what's going on with the Gospels. That's the easy way for me to tell it. God becomes flesh. That's what John tells us. And the Word, John 1:14, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory of the one and only, full, Jesus, the one and only, full of grace and truth. It is, how do you tell the story of God coming to his creation and walking with his people with flesh on? And how do you tell it with, I mean, we still don't get everything. So let me tell this. I usually tell this in class. I'm not going to get the math right because I'm not a math teacher. And I can't do, when I talk about math, it's because I can't do math quickly in my head. I need paper. I'm one of those that has to do that. And so the people that can do math in their head, it just amazes me. It's like creative people. I'm not that. So that we have 4 Gospels. Now, all 4 of them will record the last week of Jesus's life. So all of them record that last 7 days. But if you were Jesus, I think we came up with the number of, if you multiplied 365 by 33 years, I think it's 10 to 12,000 days. That's how long Jesus was on the earth. The Bible records 52 days of his life. In the Gospels, 4 Gospels, record 52 days, if you look at all of them. So they're really important. Everything that God is very specific with the things he has told us, and he's very specific with the things he has not told us. So if there is this little bit about this single solitary life, the person of interest that changed all of the world, those days are very important, and we need to know about them. And the Gospels tell us the good news of Jesus Christ. So Matthew is writing to a Jewish audience, and he's telling them he's the Jewish gospel. He records Old Testament. I always tell my students, he's not screaming at you in all caps. It's not Matthew screaming at you like in texting. He is quoting Old Testament. So he's going to bring more prophecy forward because he wants his Jewish audience to understand who Jesus is, that Jesus is the Messiah. To understand that that's who Jesus is. So that's why you get Matthew's genealogy of Jesus is from Joseph. And so that through his earthly father, he has legal claim to the throne of David. Because remember, we're waiting for someone to sit, Messiah, to sit on the throne of David. So he has to have legal claim through it. Legal claim comes through the Father. So that's why Matthew starts off that way. Matthew also is telling us that Messiah, he is king, he is king, he is king. That's why Matthew records the visit of the wise men. The other gospels do not. Only someone telling us about a king would be worried about other kings coming to worship a king. So that's why you're going to see that. Matthew is very focused on the kingdom. Here's a king, here's his kingdom. He sets up the rulers of the kingdom and the people that are going to help expand the kingdom, the disciples. He tells you the rules for the kingdom, Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, 6, and 7. All of those things Matthew tells. So Mark is written to a Roman audience to tell them of the perfect servant. So he doesn't tell any of Jesus's backstory. He starts with what a Roman audience would want to know. When does the servant start? The moment of his baptism. When his ministry starts is when Mark starts recording. Mark tells us those. Mark tells us always, it reads like a screenplay, action-oriented, shows us what Jesus is doing. Because the audience that's intended for the book will want to know those things about Jesus. He's not telling something that Matthew didn't. He just has a different perspective and a different end result that he's wanting. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, the Gentile gospel. He's writing to a Greek audience that wants to know about the perfect man. So Luke is very careful to record all the, I'm trying to think of a way to say it. Luke is very detail oriented. He tells Theophilus, I'm writing this down and I'm taking eyewitness account. That's why Luke knows about the birth of Jesus, because he talked to Mary to get the records of the birth of Jesus. That's why we have all that. But he always gets emotion and movement. The things, Luke's a doctor. He's a physician. You're going to see him look through that lens. How God inspires the writers of the word, but keeps their personalities intact. And that's what you find in the Gospels. And then you get to John. I say Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Luke are the synoptic Gospels. The three of them together fill in the story of Jesus. John is a total separate thing. He's saying that I'm writing these things down for you so that you may believe that Jesus is the Son of God and you may have life in his name. That's John's purpose of his Gospels. And he also tells you that Jesus did so much other. Remember those other days? He said, and Jesus did many other things as well. I'm sure if all of them were written down, the whole world could not contain all the books that would be written. So John tells us, but John has a very orderly account. His gospel is for everyone. I had a student this week come to me that has an atheist friend, and this student's in 9th grade. She said, my friend's an atheist. And she said, but she's open. She's open to me praying for her. Said her family's atheist. And said, I'm thinking about getting her a Bible. Because I think she's open. And this is a 9th grade student, people. And she said, what kind of Bible should I get for her? I actually recommended New Living Translation that we use. Because I said, it'll be easy for her to understand. And I said, tell her to read the book of John. Because I said, she's already aware of Jesus because you've talked to her. I said, John writes to everybody to say that Jesus is God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So John sets forth an orderly account to tell people, these are the 7 I am statements of Jesus. These are the 7 miracles of Jesus. This is an account to then, John is leading you. John's always leading you to answer the question, what will you do with Jesus? What will you do with Jesus? So there, as we go into the New Testament, understand that we need all 4 of these Gospels to give us the best picture of Jesus. Because we need to know him. Because just like my student has a friend that needs to know Jesus, we all know people that need to know him. And if we're going to tell them about him, we need to know him well. And thankfully, we have 4 Gospels that give us the good news of Jesus Christ. Welcome to the New Testament. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.